been a crazy 24 hours in the ever-evolving Paul Pelosi story, and I'm sure that we're probably going to miss something during the recording and editing and posting of this video, but stay with me for a quick second, because I'll take you from where everything started to where we are as of right now, and boy, it's been a roller coaster of emotions, okay? And of course, it's all sad and stuff. It's an 82-year-old man getting attacked by a hammer in his own home, okay? If that was the entire story in a vacuum, that would be sad as hell. There would be no real point on covering it, considering the fact that the police department acted very, very quickly, and they definitely caught him up in a very timely fashion. So, yeah, no, case closed, I guess. But life doesn't happen in a vacuum now, does it? And given the fact that, Paul Pelosi's had a real tough old year behind him at this point, and several other things behind him, as we're going to figure out, it's worth giving this story the old once-over. So, first and foremost, San Francisco police identified the suspect in attack on Paul Pelosi. Chief Bill Scott of San Francisco Police Department on Friday identified a suspect in the attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband as 42-year-old David DePape. DePape, a guy who kind of just looks like the small face meme. Big head, small face. So we'll see some pictures of him, obviously. At approximately 2:27 this morning. Holy, wee hours of Friday morning. All right. San Francisco police officers were dispatched to the residence of Speaker Nancy Pelosi regarding a priority well-being check. So apparently there were some loud noises that were a little bit dissimilar from the ones that they normally hear. Okay, when the officers arrived at the scene, they encountered an adult male and Mrs. Pelosi's husband. Just say Mr. Pelosi, like we all know. Anyways, Scott said during the press conference, our officers observed Mr. Pelosi and the suspect both holding a hammer. Both holding a hammer? That's interesting. Okay. The suspect pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently assaulted him with it. Holy! Hit him with a hammer. What type of hammer? Okay, because if you strike, like, again, Pelosi's 82 years old, okay? So this dude's just about half as young, or half his age, okay? And if he was to strike an old dude with a hammer, he'd be donezo, okay? So does he get charged with attempted murder, or what kind of hammer are we talking here? Are we talking about the inflatable one that goes whenever he makes contact? Are we talking about the Bray Wyatt, the Fiend's hammer, where that one's legal inside the Hell in the Cell, but the sledgehammer, the little hammer's illegal? Inside joke nobody's going to get, but it came to mind and I thought it was funny. Brass hammer, so just in case there was a gas leak in the house and hit him in the fucking cranium and there were no sparks there, so nothing would get lit up. Like, what kind of hammer are we talking about here? And did he hit him in the leg, the knee, the face, the groin, the exposed asshole? Like, what are we talking here? Our officers immediately tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took him into custody, requested emergency backup, and rendered medical aid. Yeah, so far during the development of this, because it's been a tumultuous, to put it lightly, about 36 hours at this point. Yeah, more or less. I hear that Pelosi's fine, and like I said before at the beginning, like, he's been through a rough year, okay? He's caught that DWI from earlier in the year, and every once in a while he has to knock the cobwebs off of his wife's crotch. Like, this guy's been through a fucking lot, okay? And it looks like he was filling his ample amount of time when she's shambling and drinking herself into a stupor in Washington, D.C. He's on the other side of the country just living it up awfully well, but not alone. Police dispatch audio. Paul Pelosi, when calling the cops, said he doesn't know who the male is, but he advised that his friend's name is David, and he is a friend. Huh. Interesting. So he knew his attacker, and he was a friend. Oh, and then we're going to take a look at some of the other pictures and some of the other funny stuff that's out there. And this kind of is, hate to be a spoiler on this one, but this is a lover's quarrel gone awry. Paul Pelosi reportedly told a 911 dispatch that the individual who allegedly attacked him with a hammer in his home is a friend, according to a police dispatch call early Friday morning. The alleged intruder reportedly attacked Paul Pelosi with a hammer, which forced him to undergo emergency surgery for his injuries. Yeah, that sucks. That sucks for sure. Officers later identified 42-year-old Berkeley resident David DePape. What? I don't even know, man. Like, homo with a hammer. as Pelosi's attacker. DePape was reportedly wearing only underwear. When officers arrived on the scene, it went from them quarreling over a hammer to now only one's in underwear, and they're both friends. Interesting. He was taken into custody and will be charged with multiple felonies. Yeah, good for him, man. Including attempted murder, San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins announced. And another thing that immediately sprung to mind when I heard this, you were talking about guys in underwear and springing to mind. Pause. But when this story first came out, it's like, holy shit, they managed to get him? Did they snatch him up out on the street? Because this is San Francisco, after all, and they have their fair share of policing issues there. It's a dangerous place, and then another thing came to mind as well. It's like, okay, back in 2020, yeah, one of their many homes got spray painted. Was that one of the houses that Paul was staying at? Not entirely sure if this is the same residence. It kind of looks the same, and I think it probably is, okay? So after that attack, okay, after that thing went down, why wasn't there more security there? Okay, was anybody at the gates of the residence? Were there additional security being paid for? Like, okay, why, and how did this guy end up getting in? And why are none of the additional reports rolling in corroborating some sort of break and entering attack? It's because it wasn't. But the media though, them trying to run it, it's like, oh, this was a far right-wing attacker, and there's all of those fucking stupid Twitter accounts that are out there saying, oh, that far-right extremism manifesting itself, and it's attacking the husband of Nancy Pelosi. It's like, okay, cool. Of all the people, like, I'm just thinking, like, who are the top targets of the right-wing extremists? Okay, if they were going to be snatching up anybody, I don't know how high up on the list of extremism Paul Pelosi is, so none of that shit really stuck with me, and it's just an opportunity. It's like, oh my god, we're 2 weeks out from the midterms, and oh, something happened to the family member. This stuff's getting so far out of hand. Cool. I don't remember any. We'll just feed into the fantasy here for a moment, okay? I don't recall any so-called MAGA Republicans, the ultra MAGA, the mega MAGA, whatever the fuck we're on at this point, whatever verb, whatever adjective we need to apply to MAGA to make it extra scurry. But I don't remember a single divisive speech anywhere near Joe Biden's September 1st, the Battle for the Soul of Our Nation speech, the one that was just so excellently lit, care of Germany 1942. Can't quite think of anything that's along the same lines on that side of the aisle, so if we want to blame divisive politics, I don't really know, man. Oh, that's, I see this little snippet off here to the side. Joe Biden, Paul Pelosi's attacker used the same chance as January 6 protesters. Okay, what, deeper, Paul? That's not the only hammer of yours I want to see. Nice bus outside. Like, what are we talking here? Emergency dispatch officials provided the police officers with the address of, or on the 2600 block of Broadway Street in San Francisco's Pacific Heights neighborhood, Billionaires Row, or whatever the fuck they want to call it in that area. According to a dispatch call that took place around 2:28 a.m. on Friday, the dispatch official, calls out during the call. Need to work on verbiage there. To a police car with a specific instructions and an address. Copy, replied the person on the other end of the call. The dispatch official then said Pelosi informed 911 that he did not know who the attacker was, but gave his name and then explained that he is a friend. Interesting. Reporting person stated there is a male in the home and he's going to wait for his wife. RP stated, reporting persons, that's what RP stands for. There is a male in the home, stated that he doesn't know who the male is, and he advised that his name is David and that he is a friend. Okay. RP sounded somewhat confused. Interesting. Well, we know Paul's proclivity for drinking, so could that explain? Later in the day, the FBI visited a Berkeley home linked to DePape, which neighbors call a hippie collective. Yeah, that's where some Q-tard would definitely hang out, right? NBC's Bay Area Jackson Vanderbecken reported, and yeah, funnily enough, we have that. Paul Pelosi's attacker, David DePape, lived in a school bus. Yeah, it wasn't so much that he lived in a hippie commune. He lived in a school bus outside of a hippie commune. See how this shit is just fucking unfolding before our eyes? It's buck wild. The man accused of attacking Paul Pelosi with a hammer I'd been living in a school bus. I live in a van down by the billionaires. Weeks before the attack, neighbor said. Those who know David DePape, 42, told the Post they've seen him living in a yellow school bus. All right, his very own magic school bus, parked in front of the Berkeley home of his ex, San Francisco pro-nudist activist Gypsy Taub, with whom he shares 3 children. More on them in a moment, unfortunately. Usually kept to himself, Ryan Lacoste, a neighbor of his, told the Post he would just give us a blank stare when he would walk by. We tried to stay clear of him. Oh, great. Wonderful. Sounds like a tremendous wealth of humanity and a real boon to the community. No one knew he was here because he would be on the bus, or he just didn't communicate. Lacoste said he wasn't surprised at all when he learned that his former neighbor was involved in the brazen attack on Pelosi. I wasn't surprised because another crazy story is coming from somewhere in that house. Lacoste said they were always toxic and would always be up to something. They are always on the news trying to be activists. They want to be in the spotlight. You know who he looks like now? Now that I'm seeing this, he kind of looks like a methed out Ethan Suplee. He used to be the big fat guy in all of those late 90s, early 2000s teen rom-coms, okay, and then he lost all that weight and he got super fucking jacked. He looks like the guy who decided to choose the path of negativity instead of, losing several hundred pounds of weight. That's also what comes to mind. Yeah, and male pattern baldness. All of that fun stuff. DePape is facing attempted murder for his charges after he allegedly broke into the home. That's where it kind of gets a little bit interesting, okay? He is homeless, but I've never seen him be violent. Margarita Gonzalez told the Post he never had work. In the beginning, when he lived with Taub, he just stayed in the house, and she was the one who did the shopping and everything. Yeah, that fucking dope ain't gonna smoke itself. When she heard about Pelosi's attack, Margarita said that she was shocked her neighbor had been accused. I was surprised because I never saw him aggressive. I don't think it was something personal with Pelosi. Maybe there's a mental problem with him. Au contraire, mon frere, because now we start to get into the, quite frankly, fucking weird, okay? Nudist ex-lover, talking about the same people here, of Paul Pelosi attacker, is female pedophile who harassed the boy, 14 years old, who brought sex dolls for their son to use. Oh boy. These are the type of people that at least the spouses of the 3rd most powerful people in the United States affiliate with. Interesting. The nudist sex lover of a man. Why do I even need to read that again? Okay, I understand the SEO reasons behind that, but whatever. Oksane Gypsy Taub, 53, the former lover of David DePape, who was charged with attacking Pelosi in his San Francisco home, was convicted in 2021 for child abuse. Prosecutors told Taub, who once protested naked in front of San Francisco City Hall, had been stalking the boy, sending him emails and messages and trying to lure him to secretly meeting her. Ryan Lacoste, one of Taub and DePage's neighbor, said that he long complained about the family's behavior and nudity while minors were around, noting that the family keeps several sex dolls, according to Michael Schellenberger's Substack. How do you know that? Okay. Before Gypsy got locked up, there were sex dolls drying on their back porch. That would be how you know. Gross. Did you just wash them off with a fire hose? That I'm assuming she bought for her sons. Weird. They were off the wall. Physically or metaphorically? Okay. Following the attack on Pelosi, DePape has been accused by his daughter of sexually assaulting his 3 children when they were kids. Oh, great. Wonderful. Fantastic. These sound like fucking upstanding human beings if you want to, affiliate yourself with that kind. While DePape had been accused of abusing minors, Taub is one convicted of the crime, as police said she had an obsession with a child. Gross. 2019, police said Taub continued inappropriate behavior with a former friend of her son, despite the boy's family placing a restraining order on her. Great, wonderful, fantastic. Authorities said Taub was writing the boy about dating him. She's 53. This happened 3 years ago, so she was 50. He was 14. Oh, it's just like what Joe Biden says. She was 14. I was 30. So at least he's being a little bit more modest. Trying to profess her love and desire to him. How something, I guess, that right there is something that the whole family like to do, I guess. So speaking with more neighbors, they told Schellenberger that the couple had Black Lives Matter flags and an LGBT rainbow flag outside their home. Nudist sex criminals that have Black Lives Matter flags and LGBT paraphernalia around their home. Okay, I don't see any correlation or causation there. Nope, none whatsoever. And also said that any liberal leanings appeared to be shallow and performative, like them all. Taub's criminal record and the former couple's alleged drug abuse paints the picture of a deeply troubled household, as DePage's daughter, Inti Gonzalez, claimed her father abused her and her two brothers. Gonzalez blogged about DePape on Friday when it was reported he broke into Pelosi's $6 million San Francisco home at 2:27 a.m. in his underwear and beat the 82-year-old with a hammer, shouting, "Where's Nancy?" I don't know, getting drunk somewhere. Just go away, stop talking to me. But before we punch out, okay, you might be able to see that. Okay, it's kind of zoomed in a little bit better. That's a little bit better right there. But as you can see, that's allegedly how he broke in, where he broke in, even though that's, I think, okay, the way that's facing, it would be overlooking the hills in San Francisco and stuff like that. Like, this is a very nice ritzy area and all that stuff. Okay, he broke in, and just wondering, okay, if he actually had to break in, why is all the glass on the outside? Okay, why is all the damage looks like it's coming from the inside out? Just wondering, just doing some amateur sleuthing and asking some questions that I'm sure we're definitely 100% going to be getting the answers to on that one. So yeah, a lot of stuff floating around out there that this was just simply a lover's quarrel or a Q-tard gone awry. But when was the last time outside of left-wing slander that you've ever heard anything about a Q-tard? And then would it really shock anybody if the guy who's claimed Nancy Pelosi for how many fucking decades at this point wasn't dabbling in a couple of dudes' assholes? You guys live in San Francisco, okay? I thought that was incumbent on your residency there. But with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.